Hello YouTube. Hello. And our boy, both of our boys, Kazuya and Clive. We're gonna be talking about Anti-Clive today, basically. So yeah, it's pretty much a good timing here because it's like 21 right now at the time of the recording, and the Clive came out, like officially came out on the 20th. So I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a lot of Clives out there. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about this character. To be honest, there's a lot to talk about, like a lot to talk about, because he kind of seems like a simple character, but there are a lot of mind games when it comes to Anti-Clive anyway. So yeah, let's talk about this character. So first, let's talk about his neutral, right? We're gonna be talking about Kazuya versus Clive specifically, but this will most likely work on other characters as well because the mind games are like, still general options, more or less general options. So one thing, which is a very specific thing with Kazuya and Clive, is that since most of his lows is either minus 13 or above, with one exception, I'm going to talk about the exception later, you can twin piston most of his lows, which is a really good thing. That's one advantage that we do have. Twin pistoning the lows is a very good thing. That's one. The second thing is I think electric keep out can also be very useful against someone like Clive. But it's risky, because they can very easily punish this. I think Clive players can very easily punish this just because they have forward 1+2 and they will never let go. Not let go, but their fingers are always gonna be at their fucking 1+2 button. They're gonna be pressing 1+2 every 2 seconds, so their fingers are ready. They're itching to press it, so they're most likely gonna punish this pretty quickly. If they are ready for it anyway, right? So forward 1+2 punish on the electric can be very annoying, so be careful about throwing this out too much. But I think it's still gonna be good to just check the Clive to not press too slow buttons. Like even forward 1+2 is slower than electric, so sometimes we'll be able to catch him on counter. It is a keep out move basically. So keep out electrics can be good, but you just have to be careful about it because if you're too predictable, they're just gonna punish it. And the Clive players can very easily punish it, while also being safe on block. So they can just throw it out, no matter what. So that's good. Other than that, in the neutral, this is a little bit more general, not like Kazuya specific advice. I would advise you to not sidestep too much, unless you have a range. Basically, the idea here is that if you think the forward 1+2 first hit is gonna whiff, you can start stepping. Like you're a little bit longer range, maybe they're gonna do a wall running 2, right? Start stepping. It doesn't really matter which side, but wall running 2 has a little bit better tracking to the right than to the left. If you go left, it's easier to sidestep the wall running 2. If you go this side right here. Right? If you go this side, you can still step it, but it has a bit of tracking. Sometimes it'll catch you on block, so you have to be careful. But only do that when you have a range. Like enough range for forward 1+2, which is basically the main move you have to be looking out for. This move, right? Prominence. Have to start stepping when you're confident that this first hit is gonna win. Because if the first hit doesn't win, same thing for follow. Because if the first hit doesn't whiff, it basically will track you. It's a very good tracking move, so it's not worth sidestepping unless you're sure the first hit is gonna win. Because when you're stepping, you can just stop stepping and block it, right? If anything, you can do that. We're gonna talk about this move a little bit later as well, but if you want to step, usually that's like the best way to do it. If you want to like minimize getting hit by it, more or less. Okay, so that's another neutrals thing, but stepping in general, in my opinion, against Clive should be kept to a minimum. Just don't step this character. It's not easy to step him, and he gets very annoyed if you don't step him, because he's gonna be forced to use wall running 2s, 1, or lows, 2, and especially when we're playing Kaz, we want them to use lows. Because we can launch every single one of them. And I'm going to talk about the exception later, but usually they won't go for that. So we basically want them to do that. If they get annoyed, they're just throwing out forward 1+2s, it gets blocked like, I don't know, 3 times in a row, and they just get so annoyed that they're coming close to you. They want to mix you up. That's basically what you want. More or less that's what you want. Especially if you play against, play a character that's good in close range. It's not Oz, like Oz is not close range strength. It doesn't have a strength in close range, basically, is what I'm saying. But if you play with someone like Steve, for example, right? That's fine. Something like Dragunov, that's fine. Close range is pretty good. You kind of want close range more than mid range because Clive's best range is mid range. Like this matchup can be a little bit weird because our best range is also kind of mid range, right? This range is what we want as a Kazuya player, more or less, but it's the same range that Clive wants. So you have to kind of play the anti-Clive. More or less you have to play the anti-Clive more. Okay. So that's a little bit more about some general stuff. Now let's actually talk about his moves. Alright, let's talk about his moves. So for small stuff, he has a one jab, 1-1. So one jab is normal, one jab, 10 frame startup, +1, 1-1 is -3. It's pretty good. Right? 1-2 is his 10 frame punish, it's -14. But it's hard to punish, by the way. This recovers very weirdly. That's why you'll see a lot of people punish this with a 10 frame. But it is -14. So 1-2, that's his 10 frame punish. 2-1, -13, that's 12 frame punish. They might mess this up, so be sure to punish this. And 2-2 is also another fast option that they can do. And the thing is, about close range, as I said, close range, if you try to sidestep, they might just throw this out and you will get caught. But, it's still sometimes worth it to sidestep, because a lot of the Clive players will not use this move unless they have a specific range. So Clive players, you'll use it here, right? They'll backdash, use it, right? Backdash a bit, then use it. But this kind of range, usually they won't just throw this out. Usually. They can, obviously. Sometimes they will. Personally, I do sometimes as well. That's why I don't recommend sidestepping him too much. But sidestepping him is not a bad idea at all. In close range, I mean. Because his moves, you can make them whiff. Like for example, his down forward 1. It's a 14 frame startup, but it's very weak to both sides sidestepping. I just got hit because I pressed way too early. But it's weak to both sides. I think it's weaker to sidestep left than sidestep right, but you can do both basically. So if you step block, it can be really good. Like step block. Because sometimes you'll be able to block the forward 1+2 as well. Depends on the situation, obviously. But step blocking Clive can be really good. Just step block 1-1-2 punish sometimes, right? Stuff like that. And usually the direction I would suggest is sidestep right, usually. And the main reason for it is this move. So let's go for Clive's lows, because I just mentioned this move. So this move, in my opinion, this is best low. This move right here, down 1. It's a very, very good low. So this, most people will remind this with Dragunov down 2, not remind it, but they're going to compare it to Dragunov's down 2. So this down 1, basically treated like a Dragunov down 2. The only exception, which is the biggest one, is that it doesn't have full weight tracking both sides. So you cannot step it to this side. It kind of tracks, right? I guess you can kind of sidewalk it. I didn't even know that. But it does not track at all to sidestep right. That's why I would suggest to go this side rather than any other side. Just for this to whiff. This was very easily. You just go to the right a little bit. Just remember to not punish it with a spectrum. I still have this happen sometimes, but you can't do it. It sucks, but you have to down forward, 1-4. This is your best punish. Down forward, 1-4. Or down forward, 1-2 if you want to punch. Or if you're crazy, do this shit. I don't know, man. Right? Just punish it. Just punish it, basically. So if you do sidestep it, try to react to it. And punish with mid. Don't punish with a high. So that's very important about this. The other thing which is very important is that it's -13. So this move, being -13 is very, very good, obviously, because, you know, you can twin piston it. And the best thing about this is that the twin piston always works. That's the best thing about this. Our twin piston actually doesn't whiff against this move. It's kind of the same like Dragunov down 2. If you twin piston, it will always work. It's very consistent. PGF, hello man, hello. So that's really, really good. Down 1, if you do block it, always twin piston it, it's -13. I think it can become -12 sometimes, but very rarely. So, twin piston it. And that's his best low. Now let's talk about his other low, which is not as good. It's down back 4, in the neutral, right? I thought this was a tracking low. This is not a tracking low. It doesn't have the particles. So yeah, down back 4 is basically something like Victor's and Lars's down back 4. Something like it. But there are a lot of exceptions here, right? It's not as good. So down back 4 is 19 frame low. And it's minus 18. So what this means is obviously do wall stank 2. As a Kazuya player, just wall stank 2 this. It doesn't stagger though, so you have to be ready for it. And don't do piston. Do not do this. I've seen some Kazuya players do this shit. Do not do that. It sucks, but it doesn't work. So yeah, wall standing 2. You do wall standing 2. Is it reactable? I don't think this is reactable. It's 90. Maybe sometimes you can react to it because of the huge wings that pop off and the, you know, the ice, maybe, but I don't think it's that reactable in a real match. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. 19 is too fast. And the other thing is, it's not really a tracking move as I just said, but usually it will track you really, really well. Like really, really well it will track you. So you can't really sidestep this, basically, is what I'm saying. Most of the time anyway. Sometimes it's sidewalkable, I've done it before, but usually you cannot sidestep this, so you have to be careful. It will kind of force you to duck, sometimes it will force you to duck. But they're taking a lot of risk by doing it, obviously. The other thing, which is very good, is that this doesn't high crush. This is the biggest difference if you compare this to Victor's or Lars's down back 4, right? Or whatever the input is. This doesn't high crush. Which means that they won't be able to just come in and crush your electric with this, right? Your electric is gonna hit them, your jab is gonna hit them, your highs are gonna hit them, basically. They might jab with. Maybe Kazuya's jab is an exception, but no, it hits. So this is very good. This is very, very good. If you play against Clive. For Clive, it's not that good, obviously. It doesn't high crush and it's still launch punchable. So this move, basically, is a high risk move that doesn't have that much reward, right? The reward on normal hit is not that much. The reward for Clive is counter hit. This is a counter hit launch, just like Lars and Victor's. But it insta-tornadoes, so it's not that much reward. He still gets a very good combo. I think something like this, right? Maybe max damage, I'm not sure. It's pretty decent, it's not bad. Especially if he uses heat. He'll most likely go to the wall too. So, it's not that bad. But, as I said, huge risk. And it's +4 on hit. And one thing to remember about this as well, is that whenever this hits you, you remember that you're crouching. So if you mash 4, while standing 4 is gonna come out. Other thing is that the hit stun is very weird. I just noticed it myself, by the way. It's a weird ass hit stun. That's so weird. So yeah, maybe try it out in practice mode on how it is on hit, because it is weird. So the +4 basically means here that if you do press, the Clive player maybe will check you with a forward button or down forward 1 button. They might do a forward 1+2 here to check you sidestepping. So there are mind games there basically, so stay safe when it comes to your options. You can down jab, but it might whiff because of the pushback. Mustang 4 is like one of the best ones to do, in my opinion, to check him. But you're still risking a lot. They might just sidestep after it, right? They do that, sidestep, make your Mustang 4 whiff. There's mind games after it, so be mindful of the +4. You cannot sidestep because you're forced to crouch, PGF. If you're P2 you can, if you're P1 you can't. You're forced to crouch basically, right? So you can only sidestep to one side. It is a forced crouch. Unless you play hitbox maybe, you know, I'm not sure. So that's down back 4. Yeah, they can also 1+2 check, yeah. 13 frames. So one of the best things to do here is mostly nothing. Backdash or sidestep. Oh, I almost forgot 1+2, right? Let me just mention it real quick about this move, because I mentioned to sidestep him to the right. So this move, this 1+2, has slide tracking to the right. I don't know why, but it does have slide tracking. I think it has slide tracking to the left as well, but it's a little bit easier to step to the left than to the right. You see that? It has better tracking to the right than to the left, basically. So be careful about your side steps if you do try to do it. The 1+2 might catch you if you do side step to the right. Okay. And not to mention if this something like this happens, right? If something like this happens, I don't think you'll be able to sidestep this. Yeah, you can't sidestep this. So be careful with your sidestepping. As I said, you have to be chill when it comes to sidestepping this character. And if you mash, this is gonna hit you as well. So this is a very, very good check that they have. The only thing you can do is like backdash here if it's a very long range hit. Something like this. Maybe. The only thing you can do is a power crush. You can either crouch cancel power crush, which sometimes I love to do that, but it's risky. But the easy version, heat burst. Yeah, it's better to block. Better to block or backdash here. Usually backdash here though, just backdash, why not? Okay. So down back forward, be careful about that. Heat burst obviously is still risky because they can just do this and sidestep. Unless you play Dragunov because your heat burst is basically tracking. Same with Brian. If you play Brian, just mash that shit. Who cares, man? If you play Brian, mash heat burst. Who gives a fuck? Not like it's gonna get stepped. But yeah, be careful about this move. Let's talk about his other lows. So the other low you have to keep out for is Phoenix 4. So I'm gonna talk about Phoenix stance a little bit later, but let's just talk about specifically this move. Because Phoenix 4 is a very important move to just know about, in general. So Phoenix 4 is another low option, which is not as high risk, but against gods it's minus 13. So this is really, really good, obviously, right? Minus 13 lows, we love them. Because if we do block it, we do get that launcher twin pistons. But the most important part about this low, in my opinion, is to stop the Clive player from mashing while standing 4 here. Because that's what like 90% of them do right now. They'll most likely change it up. But 90% of them do this into while standing 4, me included, because it works. So, remember that what this does... mashed, wait. Is -1. So if you do mash, let's say I mash a 4 here, you're gonna beat him. But the hit stun is very weird. Like if you play Gauss, for example, if you play Gauss, you can't mash 4 because you have while standing 4, obviously, right? But if you do press a 4 here, you're gonna beat him. So your while standing 4 will beat his. That's very, very good. The second thing, which is in my opinion the best thing to do here, is a backdash. If you backdash here, the while standing 4 most of the time is gonna whip. Right now it's not whipping because I'm doing it manually, just manual Phoenix 4. But in a real match when you're backdashing a lot, this backdash is gonna make it whip most of the time. In the manual, just one backdash is very good to do here. You can also sidestep, you can do it, but backdash is one of the safest things you can do, and it also beats the while standing 4 most of the time. So you have to be ready for it. Yeah, this is best low, and it gets launched by Gaz, so it's really good. So on hit property, just have to be ready for this. And on counter hit, I mean you can't really do anything, but on counter hit he guarantees a while staying on 1-2. That's guaranteed. This is also guaranteed. So it's a good move. It's a very, very good move. It guarantees a 13 framer on counter hit. And it's only -13. But for us it's good because we can launch it. Okay, that's Phoenix 4. Now let's talk about the one exception, the one low he has, which is not -13. It is this one, a full crouch mix-up. So full crouch down forward 2. This is the only low Clive has, which is -12. So you cannot twin piston this. To be honest, even if you could, I don't think this would be doable too much. Maybe it would most of the time, but sometimes it would whiff anyway. But yeah, it's -12, we don't have to worry about that. You have to while staying 4-4 here, or while staying 4, whatever, right? Either frames or damage, your choice. I almost always go for the damage, but that just whiffed. Yikes. But yeah, while staying 4 is gonna be your punish here. And on hit, +3. So this +3, also important to realize, is that this right here, also puts you in full crouch. It's kind of weird that almost all of his lows put you in full crouch, except for this one. Which is weird, because this looks like Dragunov's down 2, which does put you in full crouch. But yeah, this puts you in full crouch, and after this, he's in normal stance, but you're in full crouch. So you're gonna be forced to use something like, I don't know, while staying 1+2 or while staying 4. But I wouldn't really advise you to do anything here, I'm gonna be honest, because if a Clive player just does this into backdash, anything you do is gonna whiff. Like this, whiff, right? Everything is gonna whiff on one backdash. So you have to be very careful about doing anything here. It's very, very weird. But then you don't want to actually let the Clive player pressure you too much, but it's risky to press anything. Yeah, standing immediately. True, true. So it's really good. It is really, really good. Immediate standing there. Okay. Is there any other low I missed? I don't think I missed any lows, right? Down 1, down back 4, Phoenix 4, and full crouch down 4 too. Basically the main ones. To be honest, I think they're the only ones. If you don't count Hell Sweep, but Hell Sweep's a different mind game. That's Phoenix stance stuff, right? Okay, that's it for lows, more or less. That's it for lows. Now let's talk about his mids and his checking tools, basically his neutral. So one of his best mids is this one. We all know this move, right? This prominence. Forward 1+2. We all know this. We all knew that we were gonna talk about this sooner or later. So this move is his best move. Most likely this is his best move. It's a very, very strong move. It's tracks really well, has a lot of range, double sword strike, so you can't even parry this move, right? Unless you play someone with everything parry like Jin. Maybe Leroy, I forgot. So forward 1+2 basically is his go-to move when he's spacing. If you see a Clive player backdashing a lot and trying to make distance, they might try to set up this move just so they can hit you. Especially in heat, they might try this as a whip punisher with launches, you know, which is pretty strong, pretty busted. But it's a thing, so you have to look out for it. Now, what can you do against this move? One is that in close range, it's very hard to do anything about this move because of how long range it is and how much tracking it has. So if they do this in close range, it's possible to do something like this, for example, right? It's possible to sidestep left, make a second hit with, but this is not realistic. So this kind of stuff that won't really happen in a real match. It can sometimes happen, but this is not realistic at all. I would not advise you to actually do this kind of stuff and expect this to happen. Because this kind of stuff, it won't happen basically. Most of the time you'll either block the full string, like both of them, which is -8. So you have to use this -8, by the way. This -8 is very important to use because if you don't, the Clive player will get too confident. They'll get too confident, they might press forward 1+2 twice. But you also have to look out for his setups. Some Clive players like to parry there, so if you do a down forward 1 check, you might get parried. Some might do an orbital, some might do a power crush. Setups, right? Mind games. It's just that kind stuff basically. So yeah, be careful about that. Be careful about forward 1+2 on block, but make sure to, you know, actually enforce the mind games. Okay, that's about forward 1+2 in close range, right? So in close range, it's not really worth stepping this. Most of the time, it's not worth stepping. It's gonna catch you. Either gonna catch you or you're gonna block it. Blocking is fine. Hit, if you get hit, that's not fine. Now let's talk about mid range. Right? So in mid-range, you actually have some options to deal with this. And the best option you have is to spam backdash like you're a madman. Like you're a madman. You're basically thirsty for Korean backdashes. That's what you do. So what happens here is you have to backdash a lot against Clive. As I said, don't sidestep him too much. If you're too far, you can. But don't sidestep him too much. Backdash a lot. It's gonna be your main tool against this character. And if you backdash, the main thing you do against this specifically is you have to react. Let me make him do a delayed one because he does it instantly. Wait a little bit and do it. There we go. But you have to react to this and make sure that you're ready for it. So when you're backdashing, you have to be ready for this move. 100% of the time, be ready for it. This is the main way you deal with this, by the way. You have to bait it. Bait the first hit, make it whiff, power crush the second one. Because there's no other way to deal with it. If you think you can step it, let's say you bait the first one and step the second one, no. Right? Nope, doesn't work. Like this kind of stuff just won't work. Trust me, it won't work. If you think you can power crush through, not power crush, but punish it before the second hit comes out, you can't do it. It's not possible. Maybe with 1-1-2 I just did it, right? Maybe. But not doable in a real match. Power crush through. This is the best thing you can do against this move. If you have a parry, you should parry it. Because I think you can launch it. I'm not sure about the frames. That's for like the gym players to actually lab. Which they should, because their parry is very good. Same with Leroy. But you should parry it if you can. If you don't have a parry that can parry it, then you power crush it. So, yeah. That's like one of the best ways you can deal with this move. Especially if he's in heat, and he does something like, let's say, he's in heat, and you just got hit by this. And now he's in range, right? Most likely he's gonna be looking for forward 1+2, because of the range. So you can just bait it out, and try to power crush through it. Okay. So that's one of the best ways to deal with the prominence. I'm not sure how this move is gonna get changed. Maybe it's gonna get like more linear in the future. But right now, this is how you should deal with it anyway. Okay, that's about forward 1+2. Other stuff you have to worry about is something like 4-2-1 and 4-2-2. So 4-2 string in general. So the 4-2 string is a very, very good move that Noctis, Clive players have. Called him Noctis because of forward 2. I saw this move and I'm like, yeah, Noctis immediately. But yeah, Clive players, this is a very, very good move, basically. Very, very good move. It's not as good as a Noctis 2-2 as it used to be, but it's a safe mid check. It's not natural, right? They can block it, but it's a very, very good move. First, before I talk about 4-2-2 though, because there's a few mind games, let's talk about 4-2-1, which is the other option. So there's the high option and the mid option here. By the way, this is not fuzzyable. I don't think you can fuzzy it. There's a 4-frame window. Sometimes you can fuzzy this, but I don't think it's realistically fuzzyable anyway. So 4-2-1 is a mid-high that will spin you plus 20. That's a lot of plus, right? You don't want to press after this. You do get hit. No pressing. There's also wall splats. But the biggest thing this move has is its plus. It's plus 1. So this is the main reason you kind of want to duck this move after 4-2. And you know, launch it. Twin pistons while standing through, just launch it. Doesn't matter how you do it, just punish him. So do not let Clive players abuse this move too much, because they'll usually use it at the wall, because that's what I do. I go to the wall, like doesn't matter how, right? I just go to the wall. Doesn't matter, end the combo, I'm at the wall now. And I'm cheesing my opponent because they don't know what I'm doing. At the 4-2-1, it will wall splat if they get hit, and I'm plus if they block it. So you have to duck it. Basically, you gotta duck it. You can't let me abuse it. And the most common floor chart after this, by the way, is on block, they just do this. Jab forward 2. That's what I do anyway. So this is very, very common. And the main reason is because that's a G-clef. So if you do press a jab here, he's gonna beat you. Because it's plus 1, and that's guaranteed. And if you don't do anything, that is still safe. Not only is it safe, that's plus 1 as well. Just like the other one. So you have to be ready for this. You have to duck this as well. If you sidestep this, let's say you try to sidestep after this plus 1. The second one still will track you. The second hit has a lot of tracking basically. Unless you do something like that. Like keep sidewalk. But if you sidestep block, the second hit is gonna track you. Sidestep jab can work or anything like that, right? Obviously. Just counter it. But if you're not ready for this high, at least be ready for the second one. Because this is a very, very common flowchart. Yeah, and then do it again. Exactly. Because this is plus 1 as well. So they do this, into this, and if you block it, they're going to do it again. Why? Because they're plus 1. If you try to jab, they're going to hit you. And it's going to wall splat. Not in the open, right? At the wall. So be ready for these two moves. Very, very important. Okay. Now let's talk about the other option after 4-2, which is 4-2-2. The 4-2-1 and 4-2-2 is kind of like a mix-up. But at the wall, it's better to duck than not, most of the time. Because the 4-2-1 is going to wall splat you. It's high reward, right? So you want some kind of reward yourself. Or the risk to actually appear. Because the risk here is that it's a high. And if you do get hit by this, let's say you get hit by this, right? You just duck and you get hit by it. That's fine. 7 damage, it's nothing. Like, it's fine, right? You'll absorb 7 damage, it's fine. You know, it's not gonna kill you. But if you don't, this is gonna be blocked and you're risking too much, basically. So 422, if you do duck it, it's not that big a deal, and it is a mix-up. But the biggest thing about 422 is the string extensions. So there's I think 3 extensions. 422 1+2, 4222, and 422 Phoenix Shift. That's if you don't count heat, by the way. We're gonna talk about heat a little bit later. So after 422, they can either go for this mid, this one right here, which is punishable, -13. This mid, which is also punishable, also -13. The biggest difference here is, let me actually say this, is that you have to twin piston this. This is full crouch -13. I think the other one is not full crouch -13, this one. So this is normal standing -13. So you down back 1 to this. So this is the biggest difference between those two, anyway. But you'll mostly see the 2 option and not the 1+2 option, mostly anyway. Because the 2 option is what people use to get a heat engager. With the 1+2, this right here, just being a meter move. You'll mostly see the 2 option, this one. So this 2 option here, as I said, it's -13. But the strong thing about this is that 422 is a counter hit move. So they can confirm this on counter hit, and all this is guaranteed. That's guaranteed. If they confirm it after 422 and you get counter hit. So that's what makes it very, very strong. That, and then heat, because it's a heat engager, it can heat dash, obviously. So it can become +5. Out of nowhere, it can just become +5. So gotta be careful for it. Very, very careful. You can technically power crush through it, by the way. Technically you can power crush through this. That also means you can parry it, if you have a parry, by the way. Like a sword parry. But you can also power crush through it. Especially in heat, it can be good. Because it also beats the 1+2 option. It will beat this. Leon, hello. It will also be the Phoenix transition. The only thing it will lose to is Phoenix 1. It will lose to this. Oh, and I think it might also lose to the 4. It will trade, depending on the speed. So the power Christian option here does loses against some Phoenix options. Especially if your power crush is slow, it will lose to the 4 and the 1. So you have to be careful. Be a little bit careful here. After 422, anyway. So 422, be careful about those options, and the Phoenix transition can be scary, but sometimes you can react to it. I wouldn't really say it's very reactable. Maybe you'll need to practice it a bit. Like when they transition to Phoenix, you have to down jab them. For example, like just do a down jab. Fast enough for them to, you know, get hit by it. And then fast enough for them to absorb the hit if they do a power crush and you block the power crush anyway. So a down jab react can work, but it's a little bit iffy. I don't know if I could advise you doing it, but if you practice it, it can work, basically. And when it comes to all Phoenix transitions, by the way, it can work. 2-2 has a Phoenix transition as well. But I'm going to talk about the 2-string. Actually, I'm going to talk about it right now, since I'm talking about 4-2. So 4-2-2, not 4-2, 2-2. So 2-2 string, this move is very strong. So 2-2 is an amazing move. In my opinion, it's a very, very strong move. So the main thing about 2-2 is that it's basically a G-clef. The same thing about the Kuma's Forward 1 or Lost G-clef, the 10 frame one. This is a 12 frame G-clef. The main reason behind it is that 2-2-1, this is all guaranteed. If they check you with this and they catch you as a counter hit, they can kind of confirm this and go for the 1. Especially at the wall, this is very scary. Because it will just gonna wall splat you, like 40 damage wall splat. That's pretty scary. So 2-2-1, the main thing about 2-2 is this move. The other main thing, which is also very good, is 2-2-2. The 2 string, basically. So this move right here is a very, very strong button. Main reason behind it is that you cannot sidestep this, right? You can sidestep block, but what's the purpose of sidestep blocking if you're not sidestepping anything? And it's -9, so you can't punish it. So non-steppable. And you can't parry it unless you have a sword parry. What you can do against this is just power crush. But to be honest, I would not advise power crushing. Because a lot of people are gonna do just 2-2s. I would not advise power crushing here. You can't do it, but a lot of people are gonna 2-2 to just check you. And if you power crush every time, especially if they do 2-2 at the wall, just to check you and counter and try to finish this. Countered fishing with 2-2 basically. They're not gonna do the finisher, they're just gonna stop at 2-2. So if you power crush, you're gonna get wall splatted by 2-1. So I would not advise you to actually do a power crush there. So you have to be careful. 100% you have to be careful over there for the 2-2 string. Because as I said, it's safe, and I almost forgot to mention that it wall splats as well. It's really good. It's a very, very good string. Very strong. So be careful about the 2-2. Okay. Is there anything else about the 2-2 string? I mentioned the Phoenix shift. You can sometimes react to it with a down jab, right? If you practice, it will work, but it's gonna be hard no matter what. Practicing to react to Phoenix shift, it's gonna be hard. Can be doable, but yeah, difficult. Okay, anything else about 2-2? I don't think so. The other mid checks, or just checks in general he has, is something like back 2. This is one of his best ones. So let's talk about back 2 a little bit, right? So back 2 is a 20 frame high with this very good range. Pretty damn decent range. It's not that good, but it's pretty damn good, right? I think it's a little bit better than Prominence, just a little bit better, so it's pretty damn good. So back 2, basically, is his checking tool, which is a high checking tool, and it's also a mix-up tool as well if he immediately goes into a stance. So if he goes into a stance on hit, he does have guaranteed stuff. For example, that's guaranteed. Even this is guaranteed. On hit, he has guaranteed stuff. You can't do anything about this. This will all be guaranteed if this hits you. So you have to be careful. That's why I would advise you to not sidestep that much against this character. Especially in like mid-range or close range. It's good to not sidestep him, basically. Because this and this, both are gonna catch you. This tracks really well, by the way, this move. It tracks pretty decently. So be careful about sidestepping this character, because as I said, if this hits you, this is a wall splat as well. So yeah, be careful about that. And if anything, you can also do this, heat engage. Oh yeah. So back to, the main way you deal with this, by the way, is to just duck it, to be honest. That's the main way you deal with back 2 in general. Without the Phoenix transition, let's just ignore this transition, right? Back 2 as a move, you just have to duck it. Because this move is very hard to step. I think it is steppable. I think it's possible to step it, but it's very hard to step it. It just doesn't work. It's not realistic, basically. So you just have to duck it. Because on whiff, it's not that good. Not that good on whiff. If you do duck it, you'll have a pretty decent frames here to punish. Alright. That and the backdash. If you backdash, as I already said, backdash is one of the best things you can do against the character. Just backdash spam. Just spam backdashes. If you make back 2 whiff, you can also punish it. But you have to make sure to do a move that reaches from afar. Like, for example, either do a dash electric, like get up electric, back 4, forward 3. This kind of moves. Or forward 4-2. That can work as well. Alright. So that's about back 2 as a move. Now let's talk about his shift. So the shift on block is +6, and this is very important to know, because his transition has 15 frame moves. So this into 2 is 15, this into 4 is also 15. What this means is that you cannot do something like a down jab or a jab check. You cannot do that. You will get countered. And both these options that are countered are not good. It's not good for you. Because if you get countered by this, as I already mentioned, Clive players get a free heat engager, right? For example. Or a free wall splat. So usually pressing here is not that good of an option, like a down jab or a jab. It is a 50-50. And the 2 also gives a good counter as well, this. And it's safe. Safe mid check. and a minus 13 low check. So this is great for Kaz because the low check is minus 13 and we can launch it. It's great for us. As I said, this is one of the good things about the matchup. But for most other characters, when they can't launch it, this is a pretty scary mix-up. It's very annoying anyway, not that scary, but it's more annoying than scary. Okay, so that's about the 4 and 2 option, which kind of forces you to not press here, right? Kind of forces you to not do anything. Then the Clive player might do the 1+2 option or the Hell Sweep. So these are the other options. These are the fast options, 2 and 4, 15 frame options. And 1+2 and the Hell Sweep are the slower options. Basically, the 2 and 4 are there to force you to not press anything, and the 1+2 and 3 are there to, when you stop pressing stuff or just don't press anything, they will mix you up with slower moves. Can't you step? I wouldn't advise stepping here. This 1+2, for example, right? It tracks really well. It tracks really well. You can sidestep block. It's possible to sidestep block because it's slow. But it tracks. You cannot sidestep it. I wouldn't advise you. As I said, don't step this character. Just don't do it, man. Don't step him. So, yeah, be careful about that. But one thing you can do after back 2, if you do like an actual read, like play the mind game, is if you read that they're gonna do a mid, doesn't matter what mid they do. Right? If they do this, for example. Oh, Priest, thank for a fall. Big thing for a fall. So if they do a mid like 2, 1+2, or even a 1, if they do any kind of mid and you think they're gonna go for the mid, you can hard read it and power crush through. So power crushing after back 2 is one of the good options that you can do, by the way. It is a risk here, because as I said, you are hard reading this, that the mid is coming. But I think it's better than letting the Clive player just do whatever the hell he wants all the time. Just so he's gonna think about the power crush, right? So the power crush here is good. The other thing you can do is parry, but you need the everything parry. A Clive parry, Jim parry, Leroy parry, something like that, right? Normal parry won't work. But those parries, you'll also have to absorb a few hits. For example, if you parry with the Jin, you have to parry both the 2 and the 1, or the 2 and the 2. And stuff like that. You have to be ready for it, is what I'm saying. But if you power crush, all of this is like a bit brain dead, right? Just power crush and everything, just beat everything. It's very, very good. It beats literally everything, 1+2, the 2, and the 1. Let me showcase the 1 as well. I'll do that already, showcase it. Let me just do it, right? It beats it, basically. So it's very good. But, as I said, you're gonna get hit by the low. So if you think a low is coming, duck. If you think a mid is coming, power crush. Very, very simple, right? You can just do this very, very simple thing. Or just play it safe and just don't do anything. Just don't do anything, play it safe. But, it's better to power crush to add an additional mind game. It is better. But, as I said, you can play it safe and just not do anything. Because if you don't do anything and just eat the low, sometimes it's better to eat the low. Yeah, just eat the low. Fuck it, just eat it. Just get hit by it, it's fine, it's not that big a deal. As I already mentioned, this is -1. So it's not that good. The only time that's really scary is when you're scared of a Hell Sweep. If you respect it, let's say you just don't do anything and you respect it too much, they might go for a Hell Sweep, which can be scary. For a wall blast, for example, or a floor break. Something like this. So yeah, be very, very careful. Very careful about the back 2 mix-up. Or Phoenix mix-up in general, to be honest. Is he the strongest DLC so far? Most likely, yeah. Most likely he is. Okay. I think that's more or less about Phoenix stance that I talked about after back 2 as well. And these options are, as I said, these options are pretty damn good with 2 and 4. Being fast options, 1+2, and the Hell Sweep being the slower options. These mix up well, because they only have two frame differences, by the way. A 23 frame low, no, not low, mid, and a 21 frame low. So there's like a 2 frame difference. So it's not that easy to actually, you know, fuzzy this. If you can react to the hell sweep, sure, react to it, right? But it's very hard to react to something like that. And the other thing, which I also forgot to mention, Google, thank you for reminding me, bro. I completely forgot that existed, is a 3+4. I think this move is the main reason that you shouldn't respect Clive too much when it comes to his Phoenix moves. This move is a +7 mid, which is very slow, right? That's a tracking mid. It's pretty slow. But it does chip damage, it's +7, and the wall splats and knocks down. So if you do, let's say, do the power crush like I told you. Let me do the back 2 version. This is how it's gonna look like. So even this power crush is very good, especially for guys. We get a tornado. This is great. You know, into a combo. This is amazing, especially amazing for us. So power crush is a great option. It really is a great option. Yeah, you can power crush the shift 2 as well. I already showcased the 1. Let me showcase the 2 as well. Let's say 2-1, right? For example. Right? You can also power crush that. Let's say he just a 2 and then starts blocking. You can power crush that. It just works. Power crush is a very, very good option here. But as I said, it's a hard read on mids. If they do a low, you're gonna get countered. There's no escaping that. You're gonna get countered by the low. But this adds to the annoyance factor for the opposing Clive. They're gonna get annoyed basically. So this is good to do, especially if you have a good power crush. My power crush is decent. It's not that bad. The range is bad, but other than that, it's okay. But if you have a good power crush, it's gonna be way better. Like if you're playing a heat engaging power crush character, which are broken, right? It's gonna be very good. Very, very good option. Okay, so that's about back 2 more or less. We'll also talk about when it comes to his checks. Jump 1. And I'm not gonna talk about the jumping moves. Most likely they're gonna find some usage later, but I'm not gonna talk about them right now. Oh yeah, down 1+2, I have to talk about this. Almost forgot. So down 1+2, this is the basic Oki move, by the way, this move. They can use it in the open, I sometimes use it as well. But this is a very, very good Oki move that they have. For example, if they knock you down, they might come up and just do this instantly. That's what I do, right? Or if they do a wall combo, let's say I just get you to the wall, doesn't matter how, right? And I do a wall combo, doesn't matter which one, I can just do a regular wall combo. I might just do this instantly. So this is her Oki, the Oki tool for Clive. And the main reason is because this hits grounded, flips them over, it's a countered launcher, and it's a knockdown on normal hit. And it's -6, and it does chip damage. So it's a crazy move. Basically this move is crazy. It's a crazy ass move. It's very, very strong. The main weakness that this move has, by the way, is the length of it. Not length, but the speed. The speed of it. It's a bit slow. 22 frames. But they don't have to worry about something like that if they do a wall combo. Let's say they do a wall combo or whatever, right? And then they check you with this. They don't really have to worry about the speed there. Excuse me. Random cough. It's better than Kazuya 4-4-4. Yeah, I think it is. Because it's very easy to do. It tracks automatically, it won't whiff. It's just a tracking move, more or less, right? Most of the time, anyway. So you have to remember this. Yeah, Chun Chun Maru, I will. I will post this on YouTube. I'm already recording for it. Okay, so that's that 1+2. It's mostly for Oki, but the best thing to remember against this, specifically, is that it has a lot of pushback and it's -6. So, if you do press something, let's say a Kazuya player, right, just blocks this. Your first instinct might be, oh, I'm gonna forward 4-2. This might be your first instinct. Oh, I'm gonna fucking dash hell sweep. Do not do this. You're gonna get fucked if you do this. Because the Clive's first instinct after this is to sidestep. That's what they're gonna do. So if you forward 4-2, this is gonna happen. If you hell sweep, this is gonna happen. Forward 4-3, right? Don't do it, basically. remember that it's -6, and if you do want to press something, maybe hard read a sidestep with a back 4. Right? But don't press anything else. You can even down back 4 here because it has decent tracking. But be careful, basically. Be careful because of the -6. It's a very, very good move. I did cover forward 1+2 already. Yes, actually, I did. Okay, so that's about down 1+2 more or less. Let's talk about the other mid check, back 4, which is kind of similar. So unlike this, it doesn't have as much pushback, right? This -9, no pushback. But it kind of serves the same purpose, but with a little bit higher reward on counter hit. And on hit as well. So on hit, this just knocks them down. And it flips them over. But this also knocks them down, but it's a weird knockdown, basically. They stand back up. It's just +16. Imagine that it's not a knockdown. It's just +16, but it looks like a knockdown. It's just weird. Very, very weird on hit property. But the best thing about this move is that it's a wall splat. Right? It's very strong on wall splat. And it's a counter launcher. And unlike down 1+2, it does not instant tornado. So Clive players can get pretty decent damage, right? They do something like this on male characters, for example, into whatever, right? I doubt that was even a good combo. I think I can do better. So that's a lot of damage. That is a lot of damage. So you have to look out for this. This is basically their check. And it's very strong. And if they do like a decent combo, I don't know, something like this, right? I fucked up. But they can go to the wall as well, so it's really good. Be careful about back 4. The main weakness this move has, also, which is, you know, a little bit different from down 1+2, is that you can step it. Also, step right. As I said, I think you step this character to the right. Look at this tracking. You see that? This is crazy. Actually crazy. So you have to step him to the right. It's better to step right. Okay, that's about back 4. What else to talk about? Let's talk about back 1 a little bit as well. So back 1 is his tracking move, the fast tracking move, which is -13. Doesn't look -13, by the way. It's hard to punish because it recovers very, very quickly. So I would advise you to do a 10 frame punish instead of anything faster. Maybe back 1 2 can work as well. You know, it's fast enough. But it recovers very quickly, so you have to be careful. It's long range, right? Decent range. Countered launcher. So that is the main thing about this move, is that if you're stepping too much in close range, which to be honest, you'll usually do this if you're stepping too much. I think that's the best thing to do, not this. But if they want to counter it and they want to counter launch, they might try this. It's also +10 on hit, so be careful. Be very, very careful about back 1. And always punish it. Either a jab or a back 1-2. I wouldn't advise down back 1-2, just because how weird the stun is, the block stun. I am. Am I missing something? I'm just mashing, just to see if I'm missing something. Won't jab whiff. Let me see if it actually whiffs in some ranges. It fucking does. Never mind. I guess it's guys back 1-2 is your go-to. Just back 1-2. If you have a better jab, most likely this won't whiff as much. But yeah, back 1-2. That was a good call, not. That was a very good call. I forgot our jab sucks. So yeah, back 1-2. I did cover his lows, yeah. Okay, what else in the neutral does he spam? Back 2 I covered, forward 1+2 I covered the lows. I covered these mids as well. I covered the Phoenix stance. I'm not gonna cover the jumping shit, for obvious reasons. Leviathan, amazing. Oh, I almost forgot, down back 1. So this move is also something I should cover because I think this move is underrated. So down back 1 is a very, very good punish. Not punish, but move in general. And this should usually be used at the wall for Clive players. And the reason behind that is that it's a fast 17 frame high, right? That does this much damage and wall splats. It will wall splat from far away as well. Not that far, I guess, but it will wall splat from pretty decent range. Also, you can increase the damage by a blue spark. 42 damage, right? And if you goes into heat and does something like this, look at the damage on this, right? Like, look at that. That's crazy. That's from a down back 1. That's half your HP gone. Right? So, down back 1 is a very, very good move. And it's very hard to deal with. So at the wall, you have to be very careful. Be very, very careful about this move. Because if you try stepping him, as I said, don't step this guy. Because if you do try to step and this hits you, it's not a good day. And I think I can actually deal 90 damage if I blue spark the down forward 3 as well. I didn't blue spark the last hit. So yeah, be very careful about this. The main way you deal with this is you have to duck it, but usually I would advise to just block it. Just don't randomly duck Clive at the wall because they're gonna spam this shit. Or this shit, as I already talked about. Alright. So just block this. And try to get out of the wall when you block it. It's -8. It's not punishable, right? And it has a good pushback. As I said, this is a great move. It's a very, very good move. Basically, just block it. It's gonna be your best choice anyway. His forward 1+2 does splat, yes. It's not the most consistent of splats, but it does splat. Yeah, this can be ducked, as I said, but I wouldn't advise ducking him. Yeah, the range is really good too. Like, look at the range. This is really good. The other property it also has is that it's a counter launcher. But I don't think this is that good. It usually should be used at the wall. The counter launching property is still really strong, but it does like 2 damage. It's not that high damage. But it's still very, very good. It can be used in the neutral for that purpose as well. And as I said, it's pretty safe to do. Alright. I've covered down back 1. Should we move on to heat? Counter. If you use only the first hit, like this, you don't get it. But there's no reason to only use the first hit. Because this only comes out on hit. If this hits, that's when this comes out. It doesn't come out normally. There's no reason not to use it. Okay, I think we have to cover him in heat. So his heat stuff is a lot. There's a lot to talk about his heat stuff. Alright, so let's get this over with. Let's put him in heat just so I don't have to transform him every time. There we go, limit break. Okay, so Clive in heat. The one move you really have to worry about is his Phoenix to 1+2. This move is the biggest thing you have to worry about. To be honest, it's not the biggest thing. It's one of the biggest things anyway. You have to worry about this move. Because this move is crazy strong. So, I forgot wall running 2, bro. Okay, I'm gonna mention wall running 2 after this. How did I forget wall running 2? So, if he does a 2 here as a mix-up, like it doesn't matter when he does it. Like he does this 2 1+2. This is a very strong option because otherwise, if a Clive wants a wall splat or a high reward from the 2 option, he goes for a punishable option, right? 2-1 and 2-2 both are punishable. One is -12, the second one is -13. So they have to risk something. But the difference now in heat is that this is +4. This is a +4 move. How to play? Yeah, dude. A anti thing is also a how to play thing. I'm gonna be honest, but a how to play thing is not an anti thing. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. Okay, so yeah, 2 1+2 is amazing. It is really, really strong. So when you do block it, make sure you know that you're -4 here. You have to know it. There's a slight pushback, so if you press something, one backdash is gonna make everything whiff. Most of the stuff is gonna whiff, right? But you have to try sidestepping, and as I said, you can't sidestep this character, especially at the wall. If they do down back 1 here, this will hurt. It will hit. This will hit you, this will hurt a lot. No, you cannot power crush at wall rank 2. I'm gonna cover that. I'm gonna cover wall rank 2. I can't believe I freaking forgot. Okay, let me cover wall running 2 real quick before I cover heat. So wall running 2, this move, it's a linear move. You can sidestep this. You can sidestep it to the left easier than to the right. I think I mentioned this, but I actually didn't cover the move by itself. But when you when he transitions, instead of +2, this becomes +14. This means that his next option, which is 15, you only have 1 frame to deal with this. Which means you can't deal with it. That's what it means. You cannot deal with it. This is a pure mix-up. This and 4, it's a pure mix-up and you have literally nothing that you can do against this. And that's after only a while running 2, by the way, right? For +14. Oh, I didn't cover the full crouch mix. Nice. This is why it's amazing to speed lap with Twitch chat. It's amazing. I have to do this more, man. Why am I thinking? Okay. So while running 2, as I mentioned, you can't do anything about the 2 option. But a lot of Clive players don't do the 2 option here because outside of heat they have a punishable stuff, right? This doesn't have much reward, so they don't do just this. So usually they go for either the 1+2, which is a safe mid-hit engager, which is super strong to have, right? Or the, you know, low options, whatever, either Hell Sweep or 1+2. Not 1+2, Hell Sweep or 4. But as I said, in heat, you have to worry about the 2 1+2, which they'll fucking spam if they know what they're doing. Because this, into 2 1+2, this is guaranteed. They can't do anything about this. Literally nothing. They can't do anything. Maybe they can parry the second hit of 2 1+2. I forgot. I've never tested that, but yeah, they can't do anything about the 2, basically, is what I'm saying. They have to eat it. And this is chip damage, right? It's chip damage and +4. So it's very strong. And this is the first thing that you have to worry about. But if he does that after back 2, as I mentioned, you can power crush through. You can power crush through the 2. And of course, you can power crush through the 1+2 there as well. Oh yeah. So that's the biggest thing about his... one of the biggest things about his heat. And I mentioned the while running 2 as well. It's +14. So you have to respect it most of the time. Most of the time, right? If you think a 1+2 is coming, if you like super hard read the 1+2, I think you can parry it or power crush it. I think. I'm not sure if you can parry it, but you can 100% power crush this. This is power crushable. But as I said, it's not worth it. Especially in heat. If they're in heat, they usually will not do this to 1+2 that much. If they are doing it, the reason they're doing it is because either they don't know, that's 1, they don't know they have a broken option. Or 2, they're enforcing a mind game just for them to start power crushing, because this move is a very good move otherwise. Okay. That's why while rank 2, as I said, it's steppable, but you don't really step this character much, as I said. So it's a pretty strong move to have, while running 2. Okay. Now let's talk about full crouch mix. Almost forgot about it again. So, Cloud. Bro, from Noctis to Cloud, it's Clive. All the Final Fantasy characters. Oh my god. Oh yeah. So Clive. This man, Clive. He has a full crouch mix-up, basically. I already mentioned this one. At this low. So this is a mix-up from full crouch. But he also has a mid option. I have to mention the mid option. The mid option is busted as fuck. This is a very, very strong mid option. So this is a while standing 3 that comes out in 20 frames. It's a little bit on the slower side. It's not that fast. But it's fast enough, basically. It's good enough for a mix-up. Because this comes out in 90. It's good enough. And if this hits you, it will wall splat you. And this also does a shit ton of damage if he's already in heat or just goes into heat. You know, just does this into this. There you go, 80 damage, right? I think I can do 83 there. So, yeah, good luck. And that's a tracking move too, so good luck. So be very, very careful. Very, very careful at the wall. And usually, to be honest, just eat the low. I don't know what else to tell you. The low has decent tracking as well. Just eat the low. Just eat it, bro. Eat it. Eat it like breakfast. It's fine. Better than getting wall splatted into like half your HP as damage. So, yeah, be careful basically. This full crouch mix-up is very strong. And as you guys saw as well, this is safe. It's -8. This is safe. But not only is it safe, right? -8 normally, and this kind of -8 is very different. This pushback is crazy. This basically puts him in the neutral, like without the wall, into his preferred range. This is his preferred range, mid-range. So it's very strong for Clive. Very, very good. And at the wall, Nephilim for the wall. At the wall, he still has a bit of pushback. It's not as much. But the bit of pushback basically makes it so that one backdash will put him in his preferred range. So it's still very strong. Clive players know any mind games other than forward 1+2? True. True. It's just like Dragunov players knowing any mind games other than QCF4 into Feet Smash. True, very true. Oh yeah. Now let's continue Heat. I don't think I missed anything else, right? So let's go back into Heat mode. So the number one thing, as I already mentioned, this is Heat Phoenix Heat 2 1+2. Very important to know that that's a very, very scary move. So you have to eat it sometimes. You just have to eat it. But it's fine. The +4 isn't that scary. But if you try stepping, he might catch you with down back wide, forward 1+2. So it can still be scary. So be very careful there. Now let's talk about the big thing. His string. This string. Which I don't see a lot of Clive players using this yet. But I think it's going to be a good thing. I think it's going to be a very good thing. So this string right here has two variations. So down forward 1-1. By the way, this 2 hit, down forward 1 into 1. The second one is this 2 hits, which I don't like. I don't know why, but it's a thing. And these 2 hit is the same as up 1+2. This is the same move. Down forward 1-1. These 2 slashes. And up 1+2. 2 slashes. Exactly the same move, and the mind games are exactly the same as well. The only difference is this starts from down forward 1. And this automatically just starts. Already hurts my brain. True. Just look, man, seizure warning. I should put the seizure warning on the bit. So the mind game with a high, so basically this, is something that you have to duck. But I would not usually advise you to duck this because he has a mid extension here as well. So this is the mid extension. If you guys pay attention, that last hit, you think it's a high, right? It looks like a high. I thought this was a high as well. It's a mid. That's a mid. Even if it was a high, it wouldn't matter, to be honest, because it jails. That jails anyway. You can't do anything about this. But it's a mid. Look at the hitbox of the mid. In the upper left, it says middle. How is that a middle? It's next to Kazuya's HP, bro. And it's a mid. And yeah, you have to block this. If you duck, that's gonna hit you, and it's a wall splat. And oh yeah, it also does chip damage. You see the chip? Look at the chip. But it's not plus. Yeah, it is -8. It does look it's plus. Yeah, it does look like it's plus. That would be crazy. But yeah, be careful. It has a high extension too, which you have to duck. But the high extension has a mid follow-up. So if you do duck this, let's say you duck this. You have to wait for it. Because you can't fuzzy this. You have to duck and wait. And then punish. Because if you fuzzy and try to punish, you're gonna get hit. Because of the second hit. Duck and wait. But as I said, usually I wouldn't advise ducking here just because of that mid extension. Because this will usually be used at the wall. Usually. And at the wall, it means that it's gonna wall splat you. So let me just showcase what happens if you duck, right? Let's say you duck here. This is what's gonna happen. You duck, you get hit, almost 40 damage, like 39 damage, and that's gonna wall splat as well. So, and you already know the damage he does. So let me just showcase it, just so I can tell you guys what happens if you do duck that. So let's go to the wall. The other stage, but it's fine. Let's change sides. Because this is important. This is very important. So let's say you duck that. Right? He's blocking. Wait. Don't block. There we go. Right, that's gonna happen, and that's gonna wall splat you. And if he still has heat, let's say he still has heat, which usually will happen. Usually he will still have heat after this. He's gonna do this, as a combo, and you're gonna hate your life. That will usually work. It didn't work there, but usually that works, and that's gonna be like 80 something damage. That's basically his combo damage and heat if he uses that string. So yeah, you don't want to get hit by that, basically, is what I'm saying. That's why ducking is not that good of an option. But the Clive player can do this. They can literally just do this into Phoenix Shift. So this mid-high is a mix-up, so you don't duck. And the Phoenix Shift is a mix-up if you respect it. So you have to guess here to Hellsuit, right? That's a guess. Unless you react to the Phoenix Shift, which I don't know how you can react to that when all of this shit is happening in your face. Like all this animation and flames in your face and you react to the Phoenix Shift. I don't know how you can do that. Maybe you can, right? So unless you react to that, it's gonna be very hard. This Phoenix Shift mix up, right? And they can also do this Phoenix Shift Heat Smash, right? So yeah, good luck with that. I think this string is not used much, right? It's gonna be used a lot. I think it's a very strong move. Very, very strong string. It will be used way more in the future for Clive players. Oh yeah. That's the main thing about that string. By the way, as I said, that the up 1+2 is the same thing as down forward 1-1. The only difference is the startup. That's the only difference. Okay. What else to say about Heat? Let's talk about his Heat Smash. So his Phoenix Heat Smash, I just mentioned it. This is also an extra mid he gets from Heat. So one extra mid is 2-1+2. It's a follow-up. That's +4. Also wall splat. And the other one is this one, which is +8. So this is a floor blasting Heat Smash, which is very strong. Obviously, it's +8, and he gives him meter as well. So yeah, good luck with that too. Especially when he goes into Phoenix and mixes up this kind of stuff into his Heat Smash, or the 4, or the Hell Sweep. So it's gonna be scary, basically. It is gonna be scary. Oh yeah, that's the Heat Smash. Let's talk about his normal Heat Smash. So his normal Heat Smash, this one. This is a short range Heat Smash. It doesn't have that much short range, to be honest. Like, its range is okay. It's not that good, but it's okay. That's pretty okay. It's like 2.4, right? But compared to other Heat Smashes, it's on the shorter side. But the biggest thing about this is that when it whiffs, it lingers. It's very hard to punish. Very, very hard to punish. The best way to punish this, by the way, is if you just backdash away, wait, and then do something like this, but then you get float. But you have to wait for it, basically, right? You have to know the timing. Have to know it. Just laser. Laser actually works there. I'm not gonna lie, laser is a good punish. If it's gonna kill, this is a punish. But if you want something good, just dash into it. You have to wait for it. And when he jumps down, his animation is not that good. So you can just run up and whiff punish. But usually wait for it and then do a long range punisher if you have something good, like a dash electric is good. Something like Dragon of QCF 2 is pretty good. Or QCF 1. I'm not sure if the 1's gonna whiff, but QCF 2 is really good. Something like, you know, pouring back 3, it works. That kind of stuff. I think Steve's Orbital is gonna reach at this point as well. Steve's Orbital was buffed with its range, if I remember correctly. I'm not quite sure though. Maybe some other thing was buffed. Doesn't matter, right? Just use the long range Punisher, your best long range Punisher. That's the way you deal with this. And on block, let's say you block this. This is -8 for you. Let me actually change this side just so no one gets confused. It's -8 for you, and it's +8 for Clive. But, this will make sure that you go back to the neutral in like normal stage, right? Like normal stages, unless you're at the wall. And the difference is, at the wall, now let me switch positions. It has different properties. Well, a lot of hit smashes do this too. So it's -10 now, so you're -10 instead of -8, and you're forced to crouch. So let's say I mash 4 here, right? I'm gonna mash 4. You get while standing 4. You are gonna be forced to crouch, and it's -10. So it's pretty scary here. You have to be very, very scared of the situation at the wall if you do block this. Because the Clive basically has a free mix-up on you. Basically. Be very careful about this. Heat smash, especially at the wall, and as I said, it's a tracking heat smash. So if you try to sidestep it, as I said, just don't sidestep this character, man. If you try to sidestep it, that's just gonna catch you. You can't sidestep this. Basically a tracking move. You can't step this. Okay, let me go back to the other stage. Okay, that's about his normal heat smash. What else to talk about here? Ah, almost forgot. 4-2-2-1. Now the most cancer thing. How did I forget? So 4-2-2, I already talked about this string, right? All of the extensions. I already talked about this heat smash, not heat smash, heat dash as well. But now we have an additional mind game. He has an additional mind game. Yes, sidestep 2-1. Almost forgot about that too. I will talk about it. It's Clive top 5. I don't think it's top 5. He's pretty good though. Okay. So 4-2-2, usually the mind games are already covered. You know, the 2, the 1+2 and all that stuff. The only difference in heat is that the heat can do the 2 and the transition into +5. Basically it's safe, right? And it's a launcher. So I wouldn't really advise trying to risk anything here. If you power crush, as I said, the power crush works. But it's scary. It is pretty scary. But other than this, he also has an extra option, which is 4-2-2-1. So this is the extra punch he can do here, which uses his heat. Not much, mind you, right? Doesn't use much. It's +2. Another mid, and you can also power crush this. Just like you power crush everything else, if you do power crush here, like instantly, you can't power crush. You can't react to this, by the way, the fast version anyway. You can't power crush through, just like the 2 and the 1+2. But it's risky, as I said, because the Phoenix 1 and Phoenix 4 beats you, and the just 4-2-2 also beats you. But that's not the only thing you have to worry about. You have to worry about the charge up. So this is a guard break that guarantees a wall splat for Clive. That's guaranteed. So at the wall, if he does this, 2-1, you can't do anything about this. The best way you deal with this is either deal with 4-2-2 and instant power crush just so you can cover a lot of options. That's one way to deal with it, right? Or you react to it with a power crush. It's very hard to react to, I agree. This is hard to react to. But if you want to react to it, you have to react to it with a power crush. If you react to anything else, you might risk getting hit. And it's a launcher. It's a normal hit launcher, by the way. Someone told me it was a counter launch. It's a normal hit launcher. It does a lot of damage. You don't want to get hit by that. So if you do want to react with a power crush. That's gonna be your best reaction button. Also, don't parry it. You cannot parry this. It's unparryable because the charge up. I tried to parry it. I have a punch parry, but it doesn't work. It's a charge up move. So, yeah, be very careful about this. Very, very careful. It will be used at the wall usually, and even if you block it, he's still plus. So this is a very strong tool. Very, very strong tool from forward 2. And just like, I also forgot to mention this, this is like very strong. Yeah, wait. Just like 4-2-2-2, this is all guaranteed on counter hit as well. So let me demonstrate this. So if you do get countered by this, you're not blocking this. You are not blocking this. This is just guaranteed. The same as 4-2-2-2, 4-2-2-1 is also guaranteed. So, yeah, good luck with that. Good luck with that. That's hard to deal with, okay? That's not easy to deal with. The things I'm saying, it might work theoretically, right? Excuse me, I talk so much. Holy shit. It might work theoretically, but it's hard to do. It's hard to execute. So, yeah, it might need a lot of practice. And the character is good. Like, Clive is a good character. And the people will play him. 100% they will play him. Am I forgetting something, boys? Sidestep 2-1. Almost forgot. So sidestep 2-1 is another move, and sidestep 1+2. That I forgot to mention. So let's mention these two moves real quickly. So sidestep 1+2 is a 25 frame move. It's pretty slow and it's very linear, so you can sidestep this. The main weakness this move has, by the way, is that it's linear. But it's a +2 move that normal hit launches. Right? And it's very, very strong. That was like a normal combo in heat, right? So it's very, very strong. It does pretty good damage. You have to be very careful about sidestep 1+2. Because, as I said, you don't want to block this because it's plus. It also does shit damage, I think, right? It does, yeah. Maybe that's heat cheap damage. Let me actually just turn off heat. I don't need it anymore. Yeah, it does cheap damage. It's fuck. I'm still in heat, bro. I'm trolling. I'm actually trolling. Yeah, it does chip. I just wanted to check that. It does 6 chip damage. So you just don't want to block it. You're gonna be minus. You're gonna be chipped. And you're gonna, you know, risk getting launched if you do get hit by it. So it's very, very strong. And usually Clive players, after this, maybe we'll check you with down forward 1. Maybe we'll check your sidestep forward 1+2. Maybe they'll down back 1. Right? They have a lot of options here. Some of them might even forward 2, 12 frame check. So, yeah, be careful about this. The main way you deal with it is you sidestep it. Let me showcase that as well. I just couldn't sidestep it. There we go. It's a sidestep move, so in the neutral, it will be a little bit hard to sidestep. But it is steppable. That's the main weakness stats. But it's gonna be hard. It tracks more than I thought. There we go. I think the main side you step this is sidestep, right? But it also depends on which side the Clive player sidesteps. Tracks more than I thought, though. But in the neutral, you won't see this getting thrown out too much. It's pretty slow. They're gonna get hit by a lot of stuff if they throw this out. But as I said, it's scary. It is pretty scary. I step it. I mean, to be honest, you're not stepping anyway, okay? I already said to not step this character. You're not stepping anyway. So you're fine. You're not gonna get clipped. Just never step. So yeah, that's sidestep 1+2. Now for sidestep 2-1. So sidestep 2-1 on Clive is basically a check, a mid check. So -9 is sidestep 2. But the big thing about this move is that it's super delayable. And this delay also hit confirms. No matter how much you delay this, by the way, it will be a hit confirm. This is a very, very easy hit confirm. It's pretty doable. Very, very doable. Sometimes you can mess it up, obviously. It's not super, super easy. But it's a pretty easy hit confirm. But if you get hit, they're gonna just continue. And this is very scary, especially in heat, because they're just gonna do this. And if they heat dash, they're gonna launch you. So this is really good. And you don't want to get launched. You don't want to get launched. Yeah, it has good range as well. Right? The sidestep 2 range is pretty damn good. It pushes Clive forward. So the range is really good. And the tracking is pretty decent as well because of the sidestep move. And I think the move itself has decent tracking as well. So it's very strong. It's pretty damn good. Like the main way you deal with it, basically, is that if you do block the sidestep 2, usually it's not good to mash there. But, in my opinion, I think it's good to mash there. In this specific example, because they might think they have to finish the string, and you want them to finish the string. Because this is -15. So this is the big weakness of this string, outside of heat, obviously, because in heat it's +5. It's -15, which means it's launch punishable. You have to electric it or launch it, down forward, 1 forward, doesn't matter, right? Get a big punish on it. If they ever finish this string, you have to get a big punish on this. That's the big weakness of it. So that's why sometimes if you mash after this, they might think that, oh, I have to, continue the string just so I can catch them. They might think that anyway. So, yeah, that can be okay. But don't always mash, obviously. Don't always mash there. Okay, that's about that. Now, I've almost forgot about the down forward 1-2 string as well. And I think that's gonna be it. So the down forward 1-2 string is pretty damn strong. And the down forward 1 string is in general. And the main reason it's pretty good is because, no, not pretty damn strong. I'm saying that it's like, it's good to abuse, is what I want to say. So down forward 1-2 by itself was -16. For Clive, by the way, it's -16, it's launch punishable. And down forward 1-2 into Phoenix is plus. So the main thing about this move you have to worry about is the Phoenix transition here. Because this is the same plus as back 2. So this +6 and this +6 is exactly the same. I think this sword slash is the same as well. No, it's not. Never mind. I'm talking out of my ass. It's not the same. But basically it's the same plus and the Phoenix transition mix-up. The big difference here is that there's a follow-up. There is a 1. But -15, right? Not a lot of people know this. You have to launch it. This transition, the ender, you have to launch it. It's very important to launch this ender. A lot of people think it's not launch punishable because it doesn't look launch punishable. Same with sidestep 2-1. This doesn't really look launch punishable. But it is. You have to launch this. If you do block the full string. And you can also just duck this high. And the main reason you duck this, at first I was thinking, if this is like -16 and this is -15, why would I duck it, right? I just launch punish both of them. And just guess. But the main difference here is that this can transition to Phoenix stance, which makes it +6. That's the biggest difference. You can't launch down forward 1 to Phoenix stance. So ducking it can be a good option, definitely. Just duck it and launch. But you have to launch before the last hit comes out, right? You have to be fast enough. Okay, so that's about down forward 1-2. Now let's talk about the mix-up for down forward 1-4. So this is a mid-mid that's basically a mix-up to down forward 1-2. Basically. If you duck down forward 1, after down forward 1, this is gonna hit you. And this is -10. Now don't let that -10 fool you, by the way. That -10 is scary as fuck. So normally down forward 1-4 -10, oh, I just want 1-2. Right? I just want 1-2 punch. I'm just gonna punish this. Now the mind game here, which is pretty damn scary, is that there's a follow-up after down forward 1-4. Down forward 1-4-3, now this is what makes this very scary. If you punish this, let's say I punish with the jab. You don't want that happening. That's a mind game, right? They either finish it or they don't. So if they finish it, you have to float them. So let me just showcase what happens if they counter it. Let's say I try to punish and they finish the string, right? I try to 1-1. This is what happens. Yeah, GG, well played. 80 damage, just like that. GG's, bro. So, yeah, down forward 1-4 is very scary to punish. Trust me, it's very scary to punish. Very, very scary. Even though it's -10. But sometimes you gotta do it. You gotta do what you gotta do, man. Sometimes you gotta do it. Specialist only combo, true. Down forward 1-4-3, mash 2. Execution heavy. But also the main way to punish this is you do a float combo. Like, I guess the most consistent one for guys is something like this, right? Doesn't matter. Or maybe you can try to electric here. Do something like this. I'm not sure if this is consistent either, but I guess it's possible. It's a float combo, basically. You can lap this. Some things will work, some things will not. Maybe down forward 3, that's a punish as well, because you're +18. But just don't do a low. If you do a low and he stays in the stance, let's say you do a low, right? And he just stays there, flying, like the chat he is. He's in the air now. So if you do a low, let's say you just randomly do a low. Why the hell is that hitting? I'm not staying up, that's why. This stance is an automatic low parry. Dude, what the hell is happening? Am I tweaking? There we go. I guess I have to hold back. Weird ass game. So it will automatically low parry if you do a low there. So yeah, be careful. Yeah, I didn't mean that. And also, you had the normal head counter property when it comes to down forward 1-4, down forward 1-4-3. Is that if you do get hit by the second one, let's say you duck, the last hit is not guaranteed. But if you get counter hit, let's say you get counter hit here, it's still not guaranteed. I was not sure there. But yeah, it's still not guaranteed. So this is only strong if you try to punish down forward 1-4. So this is never guaranteed, no matter what. So they are taking a risk by this. And you have to make sure to do a float combo. Yeah, down forward 1 is not scary to duck. It's not. It doesn't do that much. Just make sure to not punish this. Just don't punish that. If you do block both of them, don't punish it. Basically is what I'm saying. Most of the time, it's not worth it for you. Okay. Always try to duck after down forward 1. Especially now, yeah. Clive players, they'll get better as you do the anti-Clive more. But you have to worry about down forward 1s. Just down forward 1s. Like down forward 1 steps. And if you just duck every time, just duck after every down forward 1, he's just gonna do this. And what are you gonna do? Do this every time? Just keep ducking after each down forward 1. So play the mind game, basically. And in heat, you just mentioned it as well, right? Down forward 1-1. He's not in heat. Yeah. Okay. This is gonna hit you. So, yeah, that's an additional mix-up in heat. Zach just mentioned that. Okay. I think that's about it, right? The other thing you also have to worry about in the neutral is the raw Phoenix shift. They like doing that. I like doing it too. When I played Clive, I love doing that. So they can just raw Phoenix shift in the neutral and just mix you up. So they can just do something like this. Basically, they backdash and they just go this. Right? They just go for the low. They go for the 2. They go for the 1. It doesn't matter. They just raw Phoenix shift. So, yeah. I think that's it. Right? I think that's it for Clive. Hopefully I didn't really miss too much. Hopefully. Anyway. And hopefully it was helpful. This was a long-ass speed lab. But yeah. YouTube, thanks for watching. And I'll see you guys next time.